Hey, everybody, we're gonna start soon. Hold on and dance to the tunes. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, what's up, monads? What's going on? How is everybody doing? Right now is voice time. We are just chilling until more people can come in. And in advance, I want to apologize. I am suffering from allergies. I suffer from that a lot, and it really affects my voice, and it makes it raspy, and I feel like I kind of slur a bit because my voice is so clogged up. It takes a minute to, compose my vocal cords. So I apologize in advance for today with my voice. It's very raspy because tree sperm. Did you know that the area that I live in has a very specific, unique kind of pine tree which emits a special yellow dust in which clogs and occupies my nostrils and my throat with yellow dust like tree semen, and it is literally tree sperm. There's tree sperm in my orifices in my face that make me sound like an absolute idiot, and I feel bad because I'm so raspy and I have to cough and snort and clutter and just and so I just want to throw out there, I'm so sorry to everybody if you don't like hearing this kind of stuff. It's early, it's spring, it's late spring, it's early summer. There is lots of pollen in the air and it really affects me. I am so sorry. So please forgive me and also I would like to say that I am on testosterone, which also is making my voice drop. So I am all sorts of all over the place today with my voice. So I apologize, but regardless of how my voice sounds, I do feel like my opinions and my insight is valid and contributing to the Hyperian society. So on that note, thank you so much, lovely dear monads who have shown up to show support for me and my raspy, cluttered voice. I don't really have anything planned, particularly for tonight, but I'm not trying to have anything specifically planned each Friday. Really, I'm just trying to be present each Friday for Friday Night Chat. And that's thus the point of Friday Night Chat, is for this to be a conversation. So, with that in mind, I do realize there are certain topics that are just in our face. And such topics I would like to bring up, first off, is the issue concerning women's rights. Women. Punch your fists in the air. Women. Women's rights. Roe versus Wade. Things like that. But I'm trying to be conservative of my voice because it really does legitimately physically hurt my vocal cords to speak. But I can't skip another Friday Night Chat. I skipped last week and I can't do it again. I can't. You know why? Because I love you. But that being said, I'm here. I'm clear. I've got pizza. I've got a shadow beer. And I've got a lot of wits about me in order to discuss some current things. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 7. Okay. Shall we go to face? In order to summon thy face of Jan. You must contribute purple demon smiley faces. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, shall we go to it? Big Face. Introducing Big Face in 3, 2, and 1. And hello, everybody. My name is Jan Erickson. This is my channel called Monday Monad, in which we talk about Hyperianism and interstar actualization. So tonight is our live stream night, and it's called Friday Night Chat. And this is where we kind of open the board up for discussion. I mean, we really can discuss anything. We can discuss the previous episode that I uploaded, which was about Destiny. If you want to check that out, please go to my main page, youtube.com/MondayMonad, and check out that episode about Destiny. That was really hard, and I think there's going to be several more parts about that, because honestly, when I started thinking about the concept of destiny in general, I started off like the Fool, like absolute bare minimum tarot card archetype, the Fool, and I'm like, let me think just about the concept of destiny. And then it opened up into a whole new world. So I would like to maybe expand on that in the future, but for now I'm just going to sit in awe of the wonderment of how this is a very nuanced, interesting topic. But anyways, so tonight, here I am with my friend, this little rainbow fluorescent unicorn that I have with me, which is my, co-host, I guess. But anyways, available for sale, by the way. But anyways, yes, Friday Night Live. I go live every Friday night for Friday Night Chat. You are welcome to ask questions and bring up topics, and especially for my patrons, my lovely dear patrons who have access to our private Discord server, you are more than welcome to ask things in our Discord server for me to answer here on Friday Night Chat. So if you want to be a part of the community of the Monday Monad, where you what am I trying to say? Oh my goodness. The music doesn't help. I'm sorry. It's going perfectly with my brain. I don't know if you can hear the music going on, but it just kind of slowly arced down to a different key. Anyways, if you join my Patreon, you get instant access to the Discord server. And if you would like to ask me specific questions, please do so in the general chat. During Friday Night Live, I have the Discord open right now in front of me. So there's a lot going on recently, and it's really hard to ignore the elephant in the room. And what I mean by that is touching on topics about Roe versus Wade and the abortion issue. But before I get into that, I would like to address everyone in the room and thank everybody for coming and say hello. So now is the time to wave your hands and get my attention, please. Por favor. And by shadow beer, I really mean like hemp water. Like, I have a course here. Not really special. But what I'm most interested in, if we're going to go off topic into random pleasures, I do have here a piece of pizza. And this is what I'm most interested in. Oh my god, look how gorgeous that looks on screen. Look at those gorgeous red and cheese tones. Red and cheese tones. That looks really nice against the blue. Look at that. Like pizza and blue. Oh, that's like a cool... That's my new song. Pizza and blue. I'm sorry, pizza cam. I don't want to annoy people who hate chewing, but you have to appreciate a piece of pizza. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Okay. Do you see this tiny little loppy right here? Oh my god. Right here. He's like peeking out. Oh, so cute. So anyways, I see Christina awakened. Thank you so much for coming. Christina, I miss you. We should catch up. And I miss Luna. Oh, that's such a cute kitty. Anyways. Kitty. Hello, Zero. Good to see you. Zero was the first one to lay down a comment, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Zero. And hello, Tyler. Hello, Renaissance Fairy. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate that. And Cassidy. And Noria, who says Luna is pretty as fuck. Yeah, no, Luna is a special cat. She's like a cute little marshmallow monad. It's really awesome. And again, as a side note, I just want to say, like, I'm struggling with allergies right now, and that's why my voice sounds weird. And also the testosterone. I don't know, my voice feels really raspy, and it's hard to, like, pronounce and enunciate for some reason. And also, it's so weird. In the last, like, 5 years, when I got into Hyperianism and started, like, exploring, like, my strengths and, like, my weaknesses, I discovered that I'm actually a mumbler. I mumble. I don't speak or enunciate things, like, super loudly or clearly. And I think a lot of getting online and doing live streams and videos actually helps that. Even when it's difficult, like during allergy season, when my voice feels like so raspy, like I just want to like not really speak at all. But anyways. Roberta, hello. Nice to see you. And 021, thank you so much for coming. I always appreciate it when you come. Melinda Mayhem, thank you so much for coming. And Cicero, thank you so much for coming. I always notice, I notice the regulars, and the regulars really keep me going, honestly. But, anyways, no, I don't have Loppy with me right now, but I do have this Loppy lump. It's a giant lump, actually. It's a mega lump. And, oh, my throat, sorry. And it has a fluorescent rainbow sort of tail and mane and very sparkly horn and cute little lumpy eyes. So if you are interested in this, please let me know and we can work something out. So we are still saying hello. Cassie! So everybody say hello to Cassie. I'm super excited because I am going to be having Cassie come visit me and stay with me in June, mid-June. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a sabbatical, and I'm going to be reuniting and reconnecting with my friend Cassie, and I'm really looking forward to this, and this is going to be a really good part of, I don't know, I feel like it's a good opportunity for healing. I think it's good for inner star actualization. And I can't promise that I'm going to document literally every aspect of it, but I will say I will record little bits here and there. Maybe share some of me and Cassie's experience exploring reconnecting. So me and Cassie actually go way back to childhood. We haven't seen each other for about like 20 years, honestly. And we are going to go on a trip, camping. Like, that's our idea of a trip, is camping. And we're going to go to Yosemite. And I don't know. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be smack dab in the middle of California. We're going to go roughing it. We're going to go hiking. We're going to go on a big road trip. And I would like to share that anyways. So, if for everybody just coming in, my name is Jan Erickson. This is Monday Monad. However, this is Friday Night Chat. We talk about anything and everything that has come up recently, but ultimately this is a channel about Hyperianism and inner star actualization. So even though Friday Night Chat is a little bit more loosey-goosey and relaxed, I still try to bring in the Hyperion point with the Hyperion eye. But if you're unfamiliar, please check out some previous Monday Monad videos, which you can find on my regular page, youtube.com/Monday Monad. Let's see, where? Right here. I think. I don't know. Where's my buttons? They don't work. Anyways. So, hey Cassidy, nice to see you. If I repeat your name, just go along with it. And if I haven't said your name, please feel free to wave your hands around until I get to you. Tonight I'm having pizza. Is anybody else having pizza tonight? Hello, Randall. Pizza. Okay, here's a uneaten piece. Real pizza, everybody. Zero had pizza for lunch. Hello, Zero. Oh, this looks silly. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the camera at my hair. My hair has gone so out of control. Okay, y'all have to realize my hair does not grow down. My hair grows like out. And around. Anyways. So, I've been having a hard time initiating discussion about recent events that have to do with the right of women to have jurisdiction over their own bodies. And here's the thing that I want to make very certain is that I do not participate in weird sort of debate obsessions. I really want to emphasize like the term like debate obsession, because I feel like too often do people get confused with, you know, when you become Hyperion and we're like, hey, we're based in reason and logic. Suddenly that gives you right to be a sort of debate obsessor. Like you're obsessive about debating. And it drives me insane. It literally drives me insane. And that's my personal opinion. It drives me insane when debating for the sheer sake of debating is confused with being rational and logical. Like, absolutely no. So when it comes to things like women's rights over their own bodies, people's rights over having, you know, it's hard to say. This is going bad. Let's just say, like, there really is this big, giant elephant in the room about this Roe v. Wade situation and this leak. And I honestly just don't even care who leaked the issue with the abortion rights being at stake here. I just want to tackle that by itself. And when I tackle that by myself, I think, oh no, here we go. Oh no, here we go. What do we go about? We go about these people, and it doesn't matter what side they're on. It's just people who have to debate for the sheer sake of debating. That doesn't work. Because when you have reason, and Hyperianism always talks about reason, when you have reason, it's a very mathematical thing. And it does pertain to the situation. Why? Because there's the issue of what we're fighting for. And we're fighting for this idea of sentient life or whatever. When you have it's so hard to say this because no matter how I say it, it's going to be controversial. So I just will go and say it. But I feel I have a right to say it as somebody who has actually had 2 abortions and is very open about it. When you have an avatar that is capable of producing more avatars, which is sort of gateways for monads to express through. Okay, so I am a monad. I'm expressing through my avatar. My avatar can produce more avatars for monads to express through. However, I don't want to get into like where, how, and when the actual monad connects through the gateway of said avatar, congesting and growing in my avatar. It doesn't even matter. At some point, it's like, hey, I have to cancel this. I have to cancel this production of this avatar. So what happens to the monad? The monad connects to a different avatar. It moves on. That's what happens. An avatar moves on to the next gateway. Or not avatar, the monad. Me as a monad. If I were to try to enter into the holos through a certain avatar, and this person had an abortion and that canceled my entry into the holos, I would just move on to the next thing. And there is eventually going to be an entry point. So, it's so difficult to talk about this. It's so difficult to just lead into this casually. It's so hard to just be like, hey, we're not totally going through this weird, like, federal U.S. thing right now where we might be set back 100 years. It's very difficult for me not to talk about this. So I apologize if I'm all over the place, but it's very controversial. But as monads, as eternal, forever existing, infinite points of light, if one avatar is not available, we just simply enter through the next one. And that's not to make the situations lightly. Like, it's not easy to have an abortion. It's not easy to be like, okay, sorry, dude, not right now, not right here, move on. That's not easy. Absolutely not. But sometimes it's necessary. And I feel where I can't speak for everybody in every single situation. Certainly not. There's a lot of nuance to this. I can speak for myself. And when I speak for myself, I think I'm not doing any disservice to a monad when they can't enter this holos through this sort of gateway that I provide by developing an avatar in my uterus. Like, they're just gonna move on to the next thing. So it makes me really sad to be in this position to think about, like, everything that's going on. And I don't want to say it, and I can't be a source of politics for you. Certainly not. Please do not seek me as a source of politics, opinion or anything. I'm literally like responding to the world around me, and you are here like listening to it. So I'm not like an official Hyperion, like this is how we should think about politics. Certainly not. But I'm stuck in this world where these things are still at debate, and I've been through these situations, and I know how it feels to be stuck in these situations, and what what I can't help but feel the most is just sadness for the people who are not going to be able to get access to the kind of care that I have. And that sounds messed up, and it should sound messed up, because it is messed up. I happen to be in a state that supports giving people the care that they need, and because of that, I was able to get the care that I needed, because I am not equipped to be somebody that's a parent that's seeking over a child. One of the instances in abortion, I actually was very responsible and had a birth control implant inside of me, and it failed. Like, the birth control implant failed after 2 years of being in me. So never mind anything else, I've actually had an experience where I had a pregnancy that happened despite me being very responsible. That really opened my eyes up to a lot of things. And I'll tell you what, when I went to the clinic to have the conversation about this pregnancy happening despite, having birth control, when I went into the clinic, every single nurse treated me like I was a criminal, like I was irresponsible, until they actually read my medical report that said, hey, I was actually on birth control and it failed. Suddenly, when they read that, their tune changed. And because of that experience, and I feel very comfortable talking about this because I want people to understand just how much women are vilified. This is not an issue of pro-life. This is not an issue of saving fetuses. This is an issue of hatred towards women. Women, unfortunately, what I've learned is that they're always in this position, in this holos, of being this dark, witchy, easily swayed, emotional, like, sireness creature, until proven otherwise. And I want to say that it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. 100% bullshit. And one thing I love about Hyperianism is how much it recognizes how vilified women are in this mainstream society, and especially in mainstream religion. Women are constantly vilified. We're constantly seen as like this nasty, dark creature. I am personally non-binary, but I have been raised as a woman, and I even hate saying that as a sentence. Like, I hate saying the sentence, I was raised as a woman, because I was never a woman. So really, I was just raised as queer hate. Sorry, I'm having a pizza moment. Pizza! So anyways, I apologize if this is very intense, and I really mean to be organized and straightforward with what I'm trying to say in Friday night chats, but it's really difficult to not be swayed by emotions in this time when, like I said, women are constantly vilified in this holos. in every narrative, in every aspect, and it just makes me feel sad. It makes me feel sad and angry, and I get why there's this sort of archetype of angry woman, hysteric, demonry, like just this straight up banshee, I don't know, just, it's sad. It just makes me sad. Anyways. Tyler said, I enjoyed debating before Hyperianism. Yeah, I just. There's a big giant difference between being inquisitive and thought provoking. There's a big difference between that and being somebody who is debating for the sheer sake of debating. Simply debating for the sheer sake of debating is not necessarily something that equates to rationality. It's just not. And one of my favorite YouTubers, Hassan, he always refers to them as debate perverts. And they really are. They're debate perverts. They're just like, they're the well, actually people who will say anything on the contrary, no matter what. And I gotta say, with the issue of abortion, like I said, in Hyperianism, we are monads. This is Monday Monad. Monads are infinite points, they are singularities. Like, we are literally, like, not quite black holes. We're like black holes and white holes mixed. We're like gray holes. White holes and black holes mixed together into gray holes. We are singularities, like we are infinite, we are eternal. If we are not connected through one avatar, physical avatar, we will simply find another. I don't feel sad in either of the two abortions I've had, and they were not easy. They were not like, hey, oh, let me just have one and punch a hole in my card. You know, if you get 5, you get 1 free. No, that wasn't easy at all. Absolutely. I did think for a moment, like, how those monads could come through into this world at this point, but I don't think it's something that would be the most efficient for them. So they will find another entry somewhere else, and they will be fine. I do not worry about them. I do not worry that they missed out on something. They're just simply not coming through me. Let's take a pizza break. Oh, hello, Solitary Princess. I like that name. I don't know why. I connect with that. I'll drink on that, of course. So this kind of leads me into this idea because, honestly, everything about this makes me feel so angry. just so angry because I can't predict what's going to happen for certain, obviously. I'm not magical. I'm not a magical, mystical unicorn that you can get in pom pom form right here. But, anyways, I'm not a magical, mystical unicorn. I can't predict what's going to happen. I can't say what's best for certain. I can only do the best I can, and frankly, I think shit's gonna be set back pretty far here. So it's really going to bring a lot of attention to what is important. And if they're gonna slack back the choice of bodily autonomy to the states, a lot of the states aren't going to provide that autonomy to a lot of people. So this is going to get really messy. But so that makes me angry, right? I have a lot of anger. How do you deal with anger? I think that's a big problem with people who are Hyperion, who love to identify as Hyperion. They have to sit back eventually in the front seat of their car or their couch or their computer chair or whatever as they stare at the screen deciding what Hyperion material to decide of next. It's gonna be a matter of like how can I help this? Like, I don't know. At least for me personally, as a Hyperion creator, sometimes I pull up my computer screen and I'm like, what am I going to write about next? And all I can think about is just how angry I am at so many things. And just like how little I feel. There's a great Hyperion creator who's part of the Hyperion source. Her name is Carrie. She posted something recently about how you really can make a difference, because we always kind of feel like I can't make a difference by myself, but you really can. You get enough of us together, you get enough of us to raise a stink, you really can make a difference. And that's why I hope more and more people who identify as Hyperion will get behind speaking for women's rights. But it makes me so angry, and I can't help but talk about it because it really is an elephant in the room. Much like this pizza. I needed the pizza to like diffuse this a little bit. I apologize for the pizza chewing. Zero says, how do we fix this? You know, that's such a wonderful question, because really, it's like, not sat. Okay, how can I say this earnestly? Because I genuinely go for a run every morning. I genuinely go walk the dog. So I was going for a jog this morning, and I was kind of like thinking about like, what am I going to talk about during this Friday night chat? And I just couldn't think of anything else but this issue. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? What can we do? What am I supposed to do? Like, what is the thing? I know the thing seems very cliche, but consider that cliches are cliches for a reason. They're cliches for a reason because they're smart and they're important and they're overlooked. But what's overlooked is speaking your mind and speaking the truth and stepping out there as somebody who's representative of real freedom instead of standing idly by. Um, I think it was, this leads into, let's see. This is funny. Oh, sorry for the burp. No! I'm trying to, like... I'm trying to center this. I don't know why it's not centering. I'm trying to show what Ben Shapiro said. Like it matters. Okay. We are professional here. Okay, I'm having technical difficulties. There we go. Ah! I hate seeing his face. Okay, there we go. Okay, so... Sorry that took so long. That was like a really long... Anyways, pizza. First, let's go to pizza. We are okay. But anyways, so Ben Shapiro. First of all, I just want to say Ben Shapiro is like a stupid person's idea of a smart man. Seriously, like this guy is secretly leftist. Absolutely. He knows it so well. He knows how to oppose it. And he's absolutely cooked by that shit. But anyways, so he says here, leftists cite rape and incest to justify abortion until birth. This is extraordinarily dishonest. Even if pro-lifers agreed to exempt R-word and incest, the left wouldn't greenlight banning all other abortions. They're arguing edge cases because they can't argue the central case. I want you to ignore all other words except for central case. Because the thing about Ben Shapiro is, like I said, he's not that smart. He really isn't. So when you're seeing points argued in these sort of issues about centralism. This is lunacy. This is ridiculousness. Being a centrist, being somebody who just, and there's so much to this. It's so hard to talk about because there's so much around the word centrist. But in a nutshell, you can be guaranteed that anything involving something with the word centrist is just not for you as a Hyperion. And like I said, there is opinion within this when it comes to these things. But frankly, if you're not on the side of reason, literally pure reason, then you are with non-reason. You are with insanity. Being central is not going to help anything. It's honestly just like on the side of being a debate pervert in this case. Zero says, I think the reason the Democrats won't abolish the filibuster and codify Roe is because they're worried about losing the midterms and they need a reason to get people to vote harder. I could be wrong. Well, I'll tell you what. As a personal opinion of me as a person, so literally, like my own personal opinion, if there's anybody I hate most, or not necessarily hate is a strong word. I don't necessarily hate, but who I disagree with or am not satisfied with the most in this situation of abortion and Roe v. Wade and things like that is the Democrats. And the reason I say that point blank is because they are the biggest proponents of just jumping onto these situations to be the superhero, literally to be the Superman and be like, hey, we're all for this, and then not actually do anything to help. Unlike this loppy lump here, this big giant cute puffball with rainbow mane and tail for you to contact me and purchase because I need help feeding a dog. No lie. There's a dog I really want to keep and he's expensive and I really want him. Speaking of which, please check out the pinned comment in the chat room. If you click on the link, it will take you to a page where you can tip me, and I would very much appreciate you tipping me because the money goes to making better content or just help feeding my best friend dog, in which I run every morning. So, anyways, more comments. Let us read more comments. I really want to eat food. Hold on. Let me at least mute so I can chew peacefully. Oh, my hair looks dumb. Oh my god. I feel like a fruit. Like a grade A banana. Big banana head. Oh, interesting. So, Abraxian Monad says, without formal debates, how can one legitimize the truth of the PSR instead of just asserting it without reason? I can name a few flaws in the PSR, question mark? So can you help me to understand how it is perfect? Okay. Very easily. So, the PSR stands for the principle of sufficient reason. Keyword, reason. Not raisins. I like raisins. Mostly in rice pudding. Mostly I like craisins, like cranberries. But anyways. So here's the thing. How can one legitimize the truth of the PSR instead of just asserting it without reason? The whole point of the PSR, which is the principle of sufficient reason, is that it is reason itself. So how can you talk of the PSR, the principle of sufficient reason, as if you can assert it without reason when it is reason itself? Do you get what I mean? How can I assert reason without reason? That is what you are asking. And I mean that very sincerely. That's what the whole point of the principle of sufficient reason is. How can I assert reason without reason? You can't, because it's reason. It's reason itself. You are reasoning through reason. You were trying to reason that reason doesn't exist. Do you see what's happening here? You say, I can name a few flaws with the PSR. How can you reason that there's flaws with reason? You are reasoning already. We're talking about reasoning. You're reasoning. How is there flaws in your reasoning when you are reasoning? That is the point of the PSR, is that you're reasoning. What flaws? It is perfect. How? Okay, so you're saying like how? So can you help me understand how it is perfect? Because you're reasoning. I'm not trying to yell, as in like I'm not trying to take this out of control. I feel like this is an old argument a little bit for me, just for me personally. For you, it might seem new, and to that, I'm very sympathetic to. I'm not trying to be over the top here, but like to it. No. To accept a principle as truth, the negation must result in its reasoning itself. How can you reason that reasoning isn't happening when you're reasoning? By the way, craisins are delicious. I like them with chicken and kale. I'm going to reason that reason isn't reasonable. What? That's everybody who tries to challenge the PSR. It's 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 being a debate pervert. I'm sorry, it is. It really is. You're being a debate pervert. You're trying to reason that reasoning isn't reasonable. What? You can't. Because you are reasoning, aren't you? That's the point of the PSR. There is a reason that you're reasoning. Is there not? There is a reason why something is thus and not otherwise. Is there not? There is a reason why I sewed this beautiful, gorgeous, iridescent loppy lump. Right? It didn't just happen out of nowhere. I didn't just fold my arms like a genie in a bottle, like boink. And like, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm really not. I'm trying to drive home the point, like, oh, I can see flaws in the principle of sufficient reason. Really? Because the point of the principle of sufficient reason is reasoning. You are trying to reason that reasoning isn't reason. You are trying to say, you're trying to reason that reason isn't reason. I don't know. So what is the contradiction if the PSR is denied? Where is it denied? Where is it denied? Like what it like this is silliness. Honestly, this is silliness. No, this is silliness. Abraxian monad. So what is the contradiction if the PSR is denied? That is silliness. Absolutely. If you are denying the PSR, then you are essentially denying your own existence. Sorry, I don't want to like chew right in the microphone. But seriousness, this is kind of what I mean by being specifically a debate pervert. You are just interested in debating for the sake of debating. If you are literally starting to debate against reason, if you are using reason, if you are reasoning that reasoning is flawed, you've lost. You've already lost. That is the point of the principle of sufficient reasoning. You've already lost if you're like, I think I'm gonna reason that reasoning is flawed. You've lost. You've already lost. Congratulations. You have thought yourself into a butthole. A literal butthole. It is silliness. It is being a debate pervert. It is debating for the sheer sake of debating. It is pseudo intellectualism. You're just you're trying to sound smart for the sake of being smart, and the best part about it is that you're using reasoning to disprove reasoning. I'm gonna reason that reasoning is wrong. What? The reason I'm so emotional about it is because it's so simple. I burp at you, sir. I burp at your I fart in your general direction. I said... Do you guys know that from... What movie is that from? I shall fart in your general direction. I'm going to reason that reasoning is flawed. Okay. This is silliness. Thank you, R1. Yes, it's Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I love that. We shall fart. Honestly, if... let's see, who is this? Abraxian Monad. Abraxian Monad is gonna get banned if he says one more ridiculous thing. No, I'm sorry. I always aim to be, pretty chill on Monday Monad. However, if you are literally going to go against reason itself with pseudo-intellectualism of like, I can reason that reasoning itself is flawed, you deserve to be made fun of. You really do. Because even I am at the awe of reasoning itself. Yeah, no, honestly. Abraxian Monad says, no disrespect intended, no further questions. You can keep asking questions, please. Keep asking questions to understand. But it's the idea where you come to the table and you specifically say, I have... Let's see, let me scroll up. What was said? So, Abraxian Monad specifically said, I can name a few flaws with the PSR. You never named him. Yeah, you're gonna get called out. No disrespect, no further questions. What do you mean, no further questions? You specifically said, I can name a few flaws. You never named the few flaws, and you are most certainly welcome to ask more questions. But don't sit there and tell me that you're reasoning that reason itself is flawed. Because you're reasoning. You're using reason to reason that reason isn't reasonable. Seriously, dude. Anyways. Yeah, I just... You struck a knife. You struck a knife with my friend Christina. And the rest of the Hyperians. You struck a knife, my friend. You cannot strike a knife and reason. That reason isn't reasonable. My friend, if you are reasoning, then reason is reason. Do you get what I mean? You cannot reason that reason isn't reasonable when you're reasoning itself. We never heard them. Honestly, I'm actually, no joke, okay. No joke. I would actually like to know what these reasons are. I would like to know what are the flaws. And I would love to have more questions. Like, really, I would love this. No joke, not trying to be rude. This is where I think I should have a option for people to call in live with their voices, because I would totally be down to taking in a vocal call from somebody who feels like they think they have flaws picked it out in the PSR, which is the principle of reason. Oh. So Christina says, when someone harasses me about the PSR, then screenshots everything I say and posts it publicly ooh, to their Facebook page, I double dog dare them to come a face to face. Yeah, honestly. If you're going to say that the principle of sufficient reason has flaws, but here's the thing. Okay, so never mind this person and what they think the PSR is. The reason why, and if you're just jumping in, the reason why there's so much protection, feelings of protection around the concept of the PSR, and it's not a concept, it's the thing. It's the thing. It's like, it's everything, man. So the letters PSR stands for Principle of Sufficient Reason. And all you have to know about the Principle of Sufficient Reason is it highlights that reasoning itself is honestly the end all and be all. There is a reason something is a certain way and not a different way. Okay, so there's a reason this loppy lump looks like this. Because I made it that way. It did not magically manifest. It did not pop out of my asshole as much as I would love to fart loppy lumps. This did not come out of my butthole. I made it this way. That is why this exists this way. That is the principle of sufficient reason. And that's what we apply to the universe. Why is the universe this way? Why is existence this way? Why is the holos this way? Because it happened this way. If it didn't happen this way, it would have happened another way. We need to figure out how it happened this way. But ultimately, it happened this way. Why? Because I'm reasoning it happened this way. That's the point of it. It's the principle of sufficient reason. The very key word at the end there being reason. You are reasoning the reason for something. There's a reason it's like that, and you're reasoning it's like that because there's a reason it's like that. Anyways. Yeah. We we know you're in here. We see you. We see you, Abraxian Monad. I'm actually kind of curious as to why Abraxian Monad refers to themselves as such when they're so uh sort of elusive or like alluded to the actual reasoning to the PSR, like, or not reasoning, the understanding. Like, why would you call yourself the Abraxian Monad and then turn around and say, I don't understand this major fundamental principle of Hyperianism? That's a little interesting to me. But anyways, yeah, so it's a little hard to talk about anything else. So, interesting thing, now that we're nice and angered and triggered, I want to sort of like view a little bit of this one YouTuber that I like quite a bit. And I've got to say, I don't really agree with everything they say, like word for word. But there's a lot of the things that they do say that strike me as like very interesting. Okay. So, I just want to say very specifically, I'm not trying to endorse this YouTuber as a Hyperion influencer because he is not a Hyperion at all. I just want to say that there are some videos and some things that this YouTuber touches on that I agree with very much. So, in the midst of thinking about all of this um craziness of this like Roe v. Wade turnover of this, even in this instance with this live stream tonight where we have this person trying to reason that reason itself isn't reasonable. That's very annoying, right? So what do we do with anger? Because it makes me very mad. Well, I happen to watch this YouTuber that I like. And his name he goes by PRXO. And I really like this guy. And like I said, some things I don't agree with, but some things I'm just like, damn, this is church. And the recent episode he talked about is fucking church. And it's specifically like what to do with anger. And so I want to kind of like go through this particular episode, but I don't want to get in trouble with any like, I'm not trying to like get in any trouble with copyright issues, I guess. Or like, I'm really unfamiliar with the concept of like sharing other YouTubers' work, even when I really like them, because I'm not trying to like take their issues. I really like what he has to say, so I'm gonna try and like listen to what he says and then like pause it enough to be like give commentary on my end from the Hyperion perspective. And again, I apologize. My voice is really raspy. It's allergy season, and I am struggling. Like, my throat hurts. What did he say? What did a Braxian monad say? Oh, a Braxian monad says, okay, so my question wasn't really answered. Is there a contradiction or not? Your question was answered several times. You are trying to reason that reason isn't reasonable. If you can't understand that, I don't know how else to explain it. There is no contradiction because it is reason itself. So yes, your question is answered. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean your question isn't answered. Your question is answered, you just don't get it. The principle of sufficient reason says you are here for a reason, not because of something else. Get it? There is a reason you are here and not somewhere else. There is a reason why everything is the way it is and not otherwise. There is no contradiction because you're reasoning that reason isn't reasonable. How can you reason to begin with if you're trying to say that reasoning is flawed? You just as well stuff your finger up your ass and spin around because there's just no reason for you to be reasoning. That's what you're trying. Oh, there must be a contradiction to reasoning, but you're reasoning that. You're reasoning that there must not be any reason. I don't know how else to. I know I don't want to exactly ban this guy yet. Only if they're trying to reason that there is no such thing as reasoning. Because, like, why are they trying to reason to begin? If you are identifying that you can conceive of a flawed, you've already acknowledged that the PSR is true. Because you're reasoning. My throat hurts. I'm curious as to the last statement of Abraxian monad. That is such a weird name to have if you're like totally against Hyperianism itself. But I'm curious to see if Abraxian monad has anything else to say. If not, I leave them in the hands of Christina Awakened, our lovely monadic moderator. Honestly, I don't think, like, Abraxian monad claims that we haven't. Okay, okay. Abraxian monad is not getting it. Okay, so here's the point. Okay, I'm sorry. Here's the point. Let's say that this is the point. Let's say that this Loppy lump is the point. And here's a Monad asking a question. Here's the answer to the question. Here's a Monad. The answer has just sailed so far above and beyond your head. And a monad is still laying on the pseudo-intellectualism because they just don't understand. They can't ask for the questions. They can only insinuate and insist that they've got it figured out. And every moment that they're trying to reason, that reason isn't reasonable, we just laugh. Anyways, moving on. Christina, get rid of it. Because we have lovely Pierre. And by the way, like I said, I don't agree with Pierre and everything he says, but Pierre is very good looking. I love their hair. I want a hair tutorial, and I like what they say about this recent situation with Dave Chappelle. So if you don't know, Dave Chappelle was recently attacked on stage during a comedy thing. But the point I want to watch this for is not for the excitement of Dave Chappelle being attacked, like Abraxia Monad is being attacked for trying to guess and suggest that reason isn't reasonable. Pierre is talking about the issue of anger, which we can all feel right now, and annoyance. So I want to watch through some of this. I hope I don't get tagged. I like this guy. I'm going to try and pause it like very repetitiously just to give the Hyperian insight and, you know. So I do like this guy quite a lot.
So Dave Chappelle just got attacked on stage. Let's check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for hip-hop history.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Dave Chappelle recently got attacked on stage by somebody who, get this, had not just like a gun or a knife, but like a replica gun with a knife that was able to like exit the replica gun. So that's very interesting and unique to me. I gotta say, I gotta give kudos for creativity there.
Damn. Okay. Front row, too. Spear, dude.
Thank God that was clumsy.
No, I gotta say, I think that's the funniest thing to like be said up front. Later, Dave Chappelle makes a comment that I actually do not like at all. But I guess that's another conversation for another time. Yep.
Was that Will Smith?
Oh, man. Class.
Is that Will Smith? Chris Rock came up and say, is that Will Smith? Here's the thing, though. I just want to say, beside this whole thing, and it has nothing to do with Pierre at all, so, like, leave him out of this, but, like, actually, like, the first thing that Dave Chappelle said after being attacked was, must have been a trans man, which I frankly think is a very disgusting comment and very much indicative of Dave Chappelle being old man yells at cloud type of personality. because he just can't let go of like dealing with that. Thank you so much, Christina Awakened, and I appreciate your judgment, Christina. Honestly, like because of Christina, like we have a lovely environment here. Um, in Monday Monad, like Christina is our number one fucking beautiful monad moderator. Thank you so much for contributing your time, and I hope you're feeling well. By the way. Anyway, so let's continue on with Pierre. By the way, his glasses are fucking fabulous. I love them so much. Everything about Pierre's style just makes me feel inferior. In a good way. In a good way. Not like in a way where like I'll step up with my own style. Like I don't mean to say like I will constantly be forever like feeling opposed to Pierre because oh my god, look at those glasses.
Exact, huh? As you can probably already tell, I've been in the middle of filming my new cyberpunk dystopian short film, and because spring is coming and human hormones are raging, a lot of things have been happening in pop culture, and this current event with Dave Chappelle being attacked on stage happened in the middle of editing. So of course, I have quite a bit to say about this current situation. Now, obviously Dave Chappelle is in the middle of a lot of controversy considering his last Netflix special was covering a very, very, very loaded topic, which, yes, I'm not going to get into it. Because within these controversial events, I do think there are a lot of interesting sociological implications that come about. In this particular case, in the last few months, there have been explosions of violence in pop culture against stand-up comedians.
No, it's true. Honestly, it's so weird, but I did cover the Will Smith incident. You can actually go to my main page, like youtube.com/mondaymonad to like see my coverage on the Will Smith situation. But like it really is like pure untapped shadow. And that's what this is going to get into. And why I know it seems confusing because at the get-go, I started this Friday night chat talking about the Roe versus Wade incident, but this kind of gets into like, well, I feel angry about this, and now we're going to have a discussion about what to do with our anger and our annoyance. And it was really perfect for this person to come into our chat and start debating, trying to use reason to debate reason, and have like some sort of pseudo intellectualism over us, and it makes us angry and irritated. So what do you do with that? This is really perfect. And when I was watching this little bit by Pierre that he posted earlier, it felt like church. And I don't mean in the literal sense like I'm Christian or anything, but just like kind of like in a metaphorical sense, like amen. Like I just loved what was being said here.
Now, regardless if you think a comedian's funny or if they're offensive, that's not the point. The point is that a stand-up comedian does what stand-up comedians do. Basically, to go up on stage and attempt to make people laugh. And most of the time, the jokes that are delivered are very edgy, boundary pushing, unpolitically correct, and all of the above. And I also understand as a stand-up comedian, you don't just necessarily have complete free reign in terms of just yelling every single slur you possibly can just for fun. But you know, if a comedian is genuinely funny and they've crafted their work, they've learned to push the boundaries just enough to get you to laugh and hopefully spark a bit of truth and insight with those boundary pushing jokes.
I honestly can't think of a better way to say it. Like, I don't think I could actually formulate the sentences better than that. Like, I feel like a job of a comedian, even in the sense of the New World Terror, even in the sense of abolishing all, like, toxic capitalism and, like, billionaires and shit, like, we're still gonna want comedy, things like that, and it's still going to push the edge of what is acceptable to talk about and what's not. But it is a job of the comedian to sort of like gauge with reason, like what are the right areas to push and what not, and just how much.
Sometimes it doesn't always work, and sometimes it does. In Dave Chappelle's case, he's had a very, very long-standing career within stand-up comedy, and in fact, I think he's like the richest, most famous comedian of the modern age at the moment. But with the last incident with Will Smith and Chris Rock, and now Dave Chappelle and a random dude who ran up on stage and gave a WWE spear straight to his gut, which we later found out that the attacker was actually armed with, I think, a replica gun with a knife attached to it. That's insane.
No, that really is insane. Honestly, that's one of the most creative things I've ever seen in my entire life. There was so much controversy and confusion over it, whether it being like a gun or a knife. But it turns out it was a gun knife.
That's actual lunacy. The whole Will Smith thing had this Hollywood drama to it, but at this point here, it's insane. And obviously, comedians have to deal with a lot now, with whether it be hecklers, oversensitivity, just drunk people in the crowd. But now, it's actual physical violence because of someone in the crowd physically there that doesn't agree with what the comedian is saying out loud. And this is a very dangerous problem. When a society gets to a point where we have to crucify the jesters, we have to know that something's wrong. In fact, I could totally be bullshitting you here, but I believe at a certain point, if a king wasn't able to take a jester's jokes, that would often show that the king was not exactly the most fit to rule because he was a bit insecure. I mean, that's...
Oh, interesting. So interesting that there's this concept of the jester and then the king of it all, right? Whether that be a metaphorical king or a literal king, but like just the general idea of a king, like if the jester's jokes are not like fitting of a king, like that is a sign of his insecurity. Interesting to say that. The thing I like about Pierre, because like I said, there's a bunch of things that I don't agree with. But if there's one thing I really love Pierre for his insight to, is his sharp precision on shadow. Pierre can target shadow in people and society and weak points in society with a precision like I've never fucking seen. And it's very admirable. Anyways, continuing with Pierre.
Probably just folklore, but I do believe that there's an element of truth there. And this has got me thinking a lot, especially in the last 2 years ever since the whole thing happened. Not only are comedians getting attacked now, but there have been an uprising of protests from all over the place, and of course, an actual war that's broken out about a country over from me. And even in my local physical life, I've actually run into attempted physical assaults. From animals to actual people, it feels like there has been a boiling over that's happening with our violent urges. And the thing is, human beings have been violent since the beginning of time. In fact, most life forms and creatures usually survive through some means of violence. And of course, there are moments of peace in between, but generally, someone's gotta die, bruh. And somebody's gonna...
It's the inevitable truth of sort of this animalistic simplicity of being human. And I think this is a good point to say, like, this is where we say we are Hyperian. And Hyperion is a very specific term that it sets you ahead of the idea of being simplistically human. Because I think being human, the term being human, is a bit overglorified, especially when we're trying to acknowledge reason as the center of all, the PSR at the center of all. Since you can't reason that reason isn't reasonable. I'm throwing shade. Anyways. It really is a specific term to be Hyperion that sets you up a step above human. We are not human. We are Hyperion. We are beyond human. To be human is to be completely swayed by these animalistic urges. To be Hyperion is to be above that, be somebody who recognizes that and can integrate that into them and in their life and put that in a certain place, but ultimately is led by reason.
Get hurt eventually. And obviously, violence is not the answer. Whether that be Will Smith smacking a comedian or a random dude with a replica gun charging Dave Chappelle, violence is not the answer. And we should try our best to never resort to violence. However, my proposition is the fact that maybe, instead of completely suppressing our aggression, how about releasing it in a controlled and safe setting where no one gets hurt, including yourself?
Oh! 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 Amen! And yes, I do mean to, raise that up and be hyperbolic about that, but, honestly, I don't get what it is about the majority of the left, but it's we can't be super angry. I don't know. What's wrong with righteous anger if you put it in the right place? And frankly, I love this. Let me go back and repeat this again with him.
Will Smith smacking a comedian or a random dude with a replica gun charging Dave Chappelle, violence is not the answer. And we should try our best to never resort to violence. However, my proposition is the fact that maybe, instead of completely suppressing our aggression, how about releasing it in a controlled and safe setting where no one gets hurt, including yourself? And
Amen! How about releasing that shit in a controlled environment where nobody gets hurt, including yourself? I can't think of anything more wonderfully aligned with inner star actualization than that. Just, thinking about all this Roe v. Wade stuff, thinking about this troll in our chat, trying to question reason, using reasoning itself, all this stuff, everything that makes you angry and frustrated, there is a way to do away with the more ugly parts of anger. There really is.
And I think this is becoming a lost narrative, especially in today's world where we praise safety overall, sensitivity overall, emotions overall, and to never hurt anybody regardless of whatever.
Yes, I'm sorry. He's hit the nail right on the head. There is a lot of sensitivity, which is needed. Don't get me wrong. There is sensitivity needed. But it has gone overboard. And it really is getting to a point where, people can't be angry anymore. Everything has to be super self-righteous, and nobody can express that.
Yes, I believe that too. I don't think anybody should get hurt. I don't think anybody should be physically harmed or even emotionally harmed. But chances are, if you're a human being on Earth, and you're a life form that's a mammal and a creature with biological urges, you have the propensity to cause violence and to cause aggression amongst yourself and other people.
Okay, so here's the part where I disagree with him, because he equates us as our bodies, as animals, and not very vehemently. I mean, he does recognize like the broad diversity, and there is a range of emotion like beyond just the animalistic instinct. I'm not saying that, but here's the thing. I'm trying to insert the Hyperion point where we are monads in these avatars, and these avatars definitely do have knee-jerk reactions programmed into them that we constantly have to interact with on a daily basis. One of which is just kind of the instantaneous, like, sort of angry reactions that we may have when we have anger and everything else.
And you can't ignore that. We can't ignore the fact that everybody has a sense of violence deep within their subconscious and even biological programming. And what I find funny is that the people that generally are supposed to be anti-violence and not supposed to be advocating violence end up being the ones that commit violence. And if they're not committing physical violence, they're probably one of the most passive-aggressive motherfuckers I ever seen, bruh. I mean,
Yeah, no joke. No joke. The people who are always the biggest proponents of nonviolence tend to be the most passive, aggressive people ever.
ever talk to the people that would just be like, I would never hurt a fly, but you know, I just feel like that dress doesn't work for you. Everybody has a propensity for violence, and if it doesn't come out, whether physically in a safe place, verbally in a safe place, it comes out in a ton of other ways. And in a more domestic sense, it comes out as like pettiness, passive aggression, judging, self-harm, all those types of things. I mean, the amount of bullying that occurs on social media, especially by the people who claim that they're here to be inclusive and accepting and love for all, they're the ones that are probably the most guilty of direct and overt bullying.
By the way, I love that he's explaining all of this with brass knuckles in his hands. I've always appreciated this detail.
Online, because that aggression is somewhere there and it's not being let out. Within the current cultural circumstances, it's hard to find within any of the mediums a type of art form that allows people to safely access a catharsis of violence and aggression. I mean, there are things in more niche areas,
Working out.
but in the current cultural mainstream narrative, there isn't anything that allows people to tap in those primal urges safely. Only because within my own personal experience.
Yes, I'm sorry, but yes, there is. I'm sorry, but I have found an immense. I just want to. Okay, let me say this in big face. I have found an immense amount of therapy and inner star actualization and cultivation of my higher self within safely expressing my anger through physical exercise, structured physical formations such as like martial arts, boxing, things like that. Absolutely. 100%. I would, if I was to lay anything down of personal opinion as something that would actually work, honestly, I would have to promote getting into physical exercise and especially some sort of structured martial arts or kickboxing, things like that, because it's not about getting in and fighting people physically. It's a lot about finding inner strength.
Experience, I never realized how much aggression I was actually holding within myself that didn't come out as like abuse to others, but really explosive emotional episodes that I would almost just direct at myself. And I would go through really crazy bouts of like rage and depression and anxiety that was so overwhelming, but I would only aim it at myself. And it got to a point where I realized like, this is not healthy. I really need to figure out a way to release these things somehow. And the first thing that came about was actually boxing. I thought back to when I was maybe like 11, 13 years old, and I was obsessed with, certain types of action films, martial arts films. I was really actually into pro wrestling, which I've been revisiting the last few weeks, and it's fucking awesome. Lucha Underground, man, Hurricane Ranas, power bombs left and right. It was, when I look at pro wrestling, it's kind of like this acted out gladiatorial fight for survival, and it's not real. Most people these days prefer MMA, UFC.
No, I love this shit. I think that's perfect. I love that. I love that sort of like, yeah, it's gladiatorial. It's not real. It's very theatrical. It's very like performed, but there's a lot of strength and a lot of practice that comes with it. Like there are so many healthy ways to express anger and frustration and irritants. There's no need to express it through ways of literally suppressing people. Such as people suppressing women for wanting choices over their bodies.
Boxing, Muay Thai, whatever else, and I like those things too, but within pro wrestling, it's not real violence, it's simulated violence, except it has that gladiatorial edge to it, where everybody gets to overtly release and have that cathartic moment of aggression and screaming at your opponent type of a thing. And I think people do that with sports as well. And nowadays, it's politics. And I'm wondering if this spillage into certain art forms like stand-up comedy or even politics is the result of a deeply repressed primal urge.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely yes. Deeply repressed primal urge. We all have it. We all hate to admit it, but we all have it, and we need to do something with it. And in order to do something with it, we need to reason to do something constructive with it.
Be honest, like I haven't really been into any shows, film, music, of anything in the last like 5 to 6 years. I've been revisiting the early 2000s, which had this explosion of science fiction action films, or just action films in general. I mean, we have John Wick now, but I look at the action films before, and god damn, are they just fucking badass, man. It was so over the top, and most...
Dude, Blade... Oh, the original Blade... That's like the original, Daywalker vampire dude. That shit was so fucking awesome. And the original Matrix, I love the original Matrix movie. Don't get me wrong. I love the concept of the Matrix. I'm not going to completely knock it. But fuck every fucking movie of it except for just the first one. The first one was good by itself. I love the movie. Actually, I think I'm going to watch it directly after this live stream because I like it so much. And I haven't seen it forever. Just the first one though. But those were badass movies. That and Blade.
Most likely overdone, especially within the 90s, 2000s, around that area.
Yes!
Everything was
yes,
like a
bitch.
cool dude with an explosion in the background doing backflips.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Blowing
Fuck
up
yeah.
people with double wielding machine guns and shit. It was really over the top.
Yes!
But there is a sense of catharsis that comes with that simulated release of aggression.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be senseless violence. Like, one of my favorite shows before it got all wonky was actually The Walking Dead, where the violence and the death in the show actually brought out the humanity of the characters and really explored the depth of the human condition.
No, I agree with that too. Not to be a nerd. I couldn't get into the second or later seasons of Walking Dead, but the first season I got into because I feel like it was directly related to how humans would react legitimately in that situation.
Through that violence. This is going to come off like I'm advocating violence.
No,
I'm not advocating violence.
No, not at all.
I'm more so thinking about...
No, I think that makes me sad. I think it makes me sad that Pierre would be like, I'm not advocating violence. It makes me sad that he would have to, like, go ahead and say that because, like, that would be the last thing that I think he's doing. And it makes me sad to think that there's like such this leftist like eating each other like world, like that he has to like come out and like say that. There's a lot of stuff that I wish we didn't have to like give like a disclaimer to. That being one of them, because I would have never in a million years thought that Pierre was advocating for violence. Like, this is totally 100% like legitimate, like healthy shadow work. Like, hey, we're angry. We should do something with that. We should acknowledge it and then channel it somewhere. I am a huge proponent of that.
The repercussions of repressing aggression, a deeply rooted human primal urge to the point where it naturally just has to come out in ways that are completely uncalled for. If you think about it, it's absolutely ridiculous. At a stand-up comedy show is now where the violence ensues. That's insane. I get if you go to like a mosh pit or a rap show and a fight breaks out, but even so, fights rarely break out at mosh pits. You know why? Because it is a controlled release
No joke.
of aggression. If you go to a metal show or a punk show, everybody has set rules and set standards, and no one is allowed to just deck someone in the face. You can't bring one of these there. And it's funny because if you
No joke. Okay, so I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I know Salt Lake City, Utah is probably the last place you would associate with fucking hardcore punk scene, but Salt Lake City, Utah is possibly one of the most fucking hardcore punk scenes out there in the goddamn world. And I'll tell you what, I've been to some punk shows in Salt Lake City, and they are tough as fuck. That is like a hard ass brawl, and there is still rules and sets of morality within that. I think that my last experience with concerts in Salt Lake City was actually a Marilyn Manson concert. Okay, so true story. I went to a Marilyn Manson concert in Salt Lake City, Utah, where I was born and raised. And that scene was full of a bunch of motherfucking repressed motherfuckers. Holy shit. If you think you've been to a metal concert, if you think you've been to a hardcore concert, shove your freaking fist in your mouth. You've never, ever, I guarantee you have never quite experienced a concert in Salt Lake City, Utah. Especially when we are able to get somebody amazing in there. As soon as you get something... Is Cassie still in here? I bet Cassie could testify. No joke. There is something about Salt Lake City when you get a decent fucking... Hello, Jewel. Jewel is precious. Precious jewels. Hello, Jewel. But anyways, yes. If you get somebody decent in Salt Lake City, I mean, it is a fucking riot. And I don't mean like a nice quintessential, like, oh, it was a little riot. Like, it's literally a fucking riot. But I remember one of the last hardcore concerts I went to in Salt Lake City, Utah, was Marilyn Manson. And there was a massively, like, super fucking drunk guy in front of me. Like, as soon as Marilyn Manson started playing, it was like full on sea of human body sweat. And everybody was being pushed and shoved around. And there was this skinhead motherfucker. I can only describe him as anything else. He had a bald head and everything. He was drunk as fuck. And I'm saying drunk as fuck. Like the unfun drunk. He was pushing around, shoving around, twirling around, just making like way more of a problem than was like even dealable. And I just remember him like pushing into me And I literally, like, took my fucking foot, like this. See this foot? I took it, and I shoved it in his like, I grabbed him by the shoulders, and I shoved my foot in his back, like, that, as hard as I could. And I shoved that motherfucker forward so hard. And my partner at the time was taller than me. And they just kind of put their arms around me and pulled me out of the way. And this is during Marilyn Manson, right? So we're talking like I'm doing this, and all of a sudden, like in the air, it's like the beautiful people, like totally fucking crazy. And finally, I get out of there and stuff. And Cassie says, "Where was the concert? The Saltaire, bitch." The fucking out in the fucking salty dune. All out in the salt lake with the mosquitoes. Anyways, it was a fun time because even then, even with all that chaos and all that craziness, there was still sets of rules and guidelines, and there was people who threw that guy out, and they actually supported me because people saw, they knew what was going on. And when I got out of that situation and I was walking around, there was this big giant biker lady, like cladded in leather. She was like twice my size, but she was glorious. She was a glorious looking, like, leather clad goddess. And she come out of the crowd and she's like, "You." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You. I saw you kick the fuck out of that guy. You are one tough bitch." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah." But, like, no, like, even then, that is still, like, a form of, like, going to a concert, like a metal concert or, like, a punk concert. That is still a form of, like, structured, like, expression. But not, like, I don't know, barring people from the right to their body.
Actually meet a metalhead or punk, they're oftentimes really down to earth and pretty chill. It's because all of that stuff gets released through the art and the music and the shows. And stand-up comedy is supposed to be one of those mediums and one of those places where you can actually have that catharsis. You can complain about
Fuck yeah, I
really
gotta see that again.
down to earth and pretty chill. It's because all of that stuff gets released.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
Space. You can't bring one of these there. And it's funny because if you actually meet a metalhead or punk, they're oftentimes really down to earth and pretty chill. It's because all of that stuff gets released through the art and the music and the show.
I'm sorry. It is so weird because as somebody personally, I love pop music. I love electronic music. I love pop music. I love all that corny music. But I'll tell you what, for some reason, and I don't know why, all of the people that I consider best friends and the closest to me are either punks or metalheads. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to define labels or anything. I love Britney Spears. I love Lady Gaga. I love NSYNC, like Backstreet Boys, like all this fucking shit. I love all sorts of like pop-ass music, like all this like electronic shit. But for some reason, I can only get along with metalheads or punk people. Like, I wouldn't ever consider myself that, but like, they're the only people I can relate to. And I feel like the reason I can only relate to those people is because they know how to manage their emotions way better than anybody else.
And stand-up comedy is supposed to be one of those mediums and one of those places where you can actually have that catharsis. You can complain about things that drive you crazy, but if it's done in a funny way, you can make other people laugh and you can make yourself laugh and everyone's happy. But it seems like we're all kind of losing our sense of humor, or maybe everyone's just really pissed off and they need to send that energy somewhere. But a stand-up comedian? Really? But the classy thing is, both Chris Rock, a comedian, and Dave Chappelle, another comedian, didn't throw hands back. They didn't strike back. They didn't use violence back. The first thing they did was to make a joke. And if you really had to choose, would you choose a joke or a punch to your face? Even if it's a possibly offensive joke, would you rather hear that or get punched in the head? And I think that's the most important thing here. Being met with violence the way that Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock did, they responded in a way that I think we could actually all learn from. And that's to take a joke. That being said, my upcoming short films actually cover a few of these topics, so if you want to see them, check them out on my channel. If you want to learn how to make a YouTube channel, check out the space system.
Yeah, check it out. I don't care. Plug it.
Take a joke. It's Pierre XO. Bitendo.
What? Okay, yeah. So like I said, I love Pierre. I don't exactly agree with every fucking point he has, but this particular episode, I was sitting in my chair here and I was like, praise the Lord, amen. Like he was talking about violence and how we need to channel it into a healthy place and just like healthy emotional expression. And I couldn't get enough of it. So anyways, let's check in on everybody. Oh, Christina. Anyways, thank you everybody so much for joining me tonight. I think that's basically it. The whole point of tonight's Friday night chat was like, hey, there's the elephant in the room, there's the Roe versus Wade being repealed. I'm pretty sure that's going to follow through. Everybody is going to get angry and frustrated. What do we do with this frustration and anger? I think watching Pierre and his video really nailed it on the head. Is, we're, as Hyperians, we're going to have to get into the position where we manage our anger wisely. And there is so many ways we can manage our anger wisely. And one of the ways is, for me personally is by vigorous exercise, which frankly I think does wonders. It's not the end all and be all and solve all of problems, but when you have that energy built up inside you and you don't have anywhere else to put it, you need to invest in some sort of vigorous, intense exercise to push the energy towards that, so that you have room to actually listen to your reasons and thoughts and things like that. But anyways, I'm gonna cut this short. I'm sorry. My throat hurts so much, and it's literally because of the pollen and the tree sperm that's going on in the air. I feel so bad because I want to sit here and talk longer and like better, but my throat just, it hurts so much. I'm sorry. It hurts. It literally hurts. Good night, everybody. I look like a red bean. Look, I look so shiny. I look so shiny. That's okay. I think tonight was actually a good conversation. Very interesting. And please, 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 from the bottom of my heart, please tip. I have the pinned post above where you can tip to support my work. Yes, I need it. I absolutely need... Sorry. I absolutely need support and help. So that would be appreciated. Thank you. I think we have... Anyways. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And I shall see you soon. And please message me about this lovely loppy lump that's available for you. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Please message me. Please join me on Discord through the Patreon. I never know how to sign off. It's like, okay, goodbye. Goodbye now. I feel like Wizard of Oz with the Munchkins. And they're like, goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. 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 No, I've spoken. I have spoken all the part. I have spoken all the part. Goodbye now.